Good afternoon. I'm Will Royal with UVI Online, and I am here with Miss Shawna Starkey, who is a faculty member for UVI Online. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Great. Can you first start out by telling me today a little bit about the classes that you teach?
All right. So I see all of the incoming fresh students. They take the Student Success Seminar from me. And then I also teach in the communication field. So the interpersonal and leadership skills, and also public speaking.
And can you talk to me a little bit about when a student enrolls in one of your classes and you first meet them virtually? How do you start to build relationships with your students since the classes are virtual?
Well, we start out in each classroom. There are it's an introduction forum, so there's discussion questions that are more focused on the courses, but then there's also a spot for the students to introduce themselves, and it's more than I'm here to get this degree. You get some idea of the types of hobbies that they like to do, the traveling that they've done. So that's something we start out with in week one in terms of just getting to know each other like you would if you were in a face-to-face situation. You can do all that, typing it out as well.
So it sounds like not only are they getting to know you, but they're getting to know each other. Is that right?
Oh, yes, definitely. I mean, you still want to build that same type of camaraderie and rapport, especially in something like student success, where they're new to that and they're working through similar challenges that they all have with managing their time and trying to figure out how to add this new piece into their life. And they really enjoy, knowing that they're not alone in having these challenges or something with their children or their job. So it really helps them to feel connected to each other. And it is a smaller program. So they're with each other, throughout the course of their degree, especially in their general educations. In student success, um, the very first thing they start out learning is how to manage Blackboard, which is the learning management system. That is week one. All of the classes are set up really similarly. So once they learn that, they've got it and they can ride that out through the rest of the time. In a student success, we talk about goal setting, big picture goals, getting the time that you need and the space that you need to achieve the degree, how to utilize library resources and do scholarly level research, how to manage stressors and difficulties that arise. And then at the end, they also have a career portfolio that asks them to generate a resume and do an informational interview with someone in their field, so they get an idea of what they really are in for when they pursue the full degree. And then in terms of interpersonal communication, you are learning everything from the basic communication models to how your perception impacts communication, verbal communication, nonverbal communication, listening skills, conflict management, family communication. It's really a packed bunch of communication, in terms of like improving your interpersonal communication, both in the workplace, but also in your families. And that's something I do get a lot of feedback from them about. Oh, this has really improved and changed, how I've been interacting with my family, as well as, promoting things for their career early on. And then I also teach public speaking. And in that course, they are learning everything that's involved with that, as far as managing public speaking anxiety, how to put together an outlined, formalized presentation, how to get the attention of the audience, how to give them a good action step. And we cover introduction speeches, demonstration speeches, informative, and also persuasive, and with an emphasis on research and learning how to smoothly provide attribution statements for sources that you have done for the speech. And then there's some assignments in there designed on speech critique as well, where they're watching things and looking for specifics in terms of organization and attention getting of that speaker. So hopefully they get through with that one and are ready to stand up in front of the group, whether they want to or not. But mostly they are very enthusiastic in that class. I've been impressed.
How do these online classes compare to traditional on-ground classes? How, you know, what are the differences between them, if any?
I think, well, the biggest difference obviously is that you're not required to be at a certain time and space. So it is asynchronous, which for a lot of students makes it much more convenient, or they can work that into a job or other responsibilities that they have. So that's probably, even for myself as the instructor, a really cool feature is that you don't have to be accountable to that time and space. You just have to be accountable to the assignment. Obviously, you're not face to face, so some of that immediate, I raise my hand, I have a question. That is a little bit different. So you're relying on email and that type of thing. But we are a small faculty group, and I can tell you that all of us check in probably every day on those emails just to make sure that students are on track, because we know they're working asynchronously as well, and we don't want to hold them up from progressing on their assignment by waiting for an answer. That about sums up the two big ones.
Well, how is the learning process different for the student? It sounds like that, you know, it's very different than an on-ground program. Can you explain the key differences for the student that they need to be thinking of when they're enrolling in an online degree program? You know, how will the learning process be different for them than a traditional on-ground program?
So, well, for one piece, they will need to have a certain amount of self motivation since they're not required to be in the classroom. They're going to have to set that time aside and the space, hopefully in their living quarters or library, wherever they are, to make this, officially class time. I always tell them that yes, it's asynchronous, but the time is not going to magically appear for you. So you do need to make sure that you're setting aside enough time and space for any problems that might arise as well. And we're still learning and applying the material. For myself, even though I've taught online since 2007. So, to me, it is definitely kind of old hat, and you work them through, and those, especially when they're brand new to getting into a system. They basically just need a system to understand their best learning style, their best learning space, and that's something that they're going to have to do on ground or online, no matter which way that they're learning it. In my classes, I have a weekly lecture that I've recorded and uploaded, so they are still getting, face to face information from me as if I were lecturing them about the topic. But they have to be prepared to, read and be accountable to that information just as much as a ground student would have to.
So you mentioned having a strong support system as something important to the student success. How does the university help with that support system? How does the university support the student and try to ensure their success through the program?
Well, I know all of the faculty, and they are extremely kind and generous and compassionate people. The librarian is absolutely fantastic, the one who is assigned to us. All of the deans, they're all on board with the online program, and then their student advisor is, I don't know how she's almost like magic. So there's a variety of people, including, former faculty as well, people who they've taken classes from in the past that they can reach out to, because we are all very open and supportive to the students. So the administration is there. I mean, we are all part of one team to help them succeed, the faculty, the administration.
Okay, talk to me a little bit about the discipline that's required by students who are taking online-based courses and going through an online degree program versus the discipline required on ground. How does that differ for a student?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that if you have a class at 10 o'clock on Tuesday and you go to your class at 10 o'clock on Tuesday, you're there, that's what you're doing at that time. And I would encourage students to really set up something very similar for themselves that works for their schedule, to set aside that time, on a consistent and regular basis, and just to log in every day and try to make something. I mean, that's on the faculty to try to make something almost a little bit exciting every day, whether it's an announcement or a discussion post, because we are competing with We just had this great big conversation in student success about social media use and how, we were in time management, and I asked them to keep track of their schedule. And so many of them were surprised how much time they actually spend just scrolling to no purpose, really, upon their phone and different social media. And all of them said, I need to do less of that. I need to put my phone to the side and really focus on the class or whatever I'm trying to do in that moment. So it was a real eye opener for a lot of them how much time they were actually spending just on social media. So they can take that time and devote it now to the classroom, which is, I'm like, this is your new video game. This is your new social media. Here's Blackboard, you know?
So if a student has made a decision, they plan to do an online degree, and they're teeter tottering between UVI online and maybe another program or two, why should they choose UVI online over another online degree program?
Well, what I really like about UVI is that it still has an intimate feeling to it. There's, I think, 15 of us as faculty, and so we all know each other. And as the program grows, and we're going to get bigger and get our own, get a few more students and get bigger class sizes. But at the moment, you are really getting a high quality, personalized education, even though it is in an online environment. These are faculty who are working together and understanding the student population. Where in a larger place, your faculty might never see each other. They might never even talk about anything. Even students aside, even just to get together and kind of socialize a little bit and keep ourselves with our eyes on the prize, or our eyes on what the overall goals of the program are, and to really be consistent with each other. And that's something you might not see in a larger